Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Madeline. I'm the astrologer behind Sundance Astrology, and today we are here to talk about the upcoming new moon in Leo. If you are new here on my channel, thank you so much for joining me. I'm a Hellenistic astrologer, so I do use whole sign houses and traditional rulerships for these forecasts. If you are returning, thank you so much and welcome back. So I'm joining you here today. I thought I'd try out a new environment for the first portion of this video. Since it's nice outside, it's Leo season, basking in the sun a little bit. So before we dive into the chart for this new moon, we'll talk a little bit about the sun moving into Leo and out of Cancer and just some general energetic themes. So it's always an interesting shift from the sun in Cancer to the sun in Leo. During Cancer season, or when the sun is moving through Cancer, we have to look to the moon. And the moon travels so quickly that during the sun in Cancer, the moon is going to travel through all 12 houses of your birth chart. It travels through all 12 signs. The moon cycle happens and finishes in 28 days. So this is a season where we really experience a lot. We basically experience the moon moving through all 12 houses of the chart. So we experience all different themes of life. So, you know, it's a lot. There's a lot of waves in Cancer season. There's a lot of feelings because this moon is traveling so fast and it becomes the ruler of the sun. So as we transition into Leo, the sun in Leo, the sun rules Leo. So it's a really big difference where now the sun is condensed into one area of our charts. So check your Leo house to notice where the sun is for you. And then something else you're going to want to look at is the ruler of your Leo house, which is the sun. So if your sun is not in Leo, you're going to want to check the house that the sun is in your birth chart, as that is going to be illuminated during this time as well. So the sun in Leo, it is at home. You can think about it as this planet is working with all of the tools that it needs. So you as a person in your own house, you're not a guest anywhere. You can open the fridge when you want. You can do whatever you want. You basically have all the tools that you want at your disposal. So this is really nice for the sun in Leo. It doesn't really have to look to anything else. So this is a time of the year where we really get to tap into the archetype of the sun. So really learning how to shine our light during this time. We kind of move out of Cancer season, which really feels like we're going through the waves. We're experiencing lots of different areas of life. And it almost washes us clean so that when the sun moves into Leo, we are ready to stand up. We're ready to share our talents. We're ready to express ourselves. So the sun in Leo is just really a nice time. It's the time in the northern hemisphere when the light is starting to wane. The days are getting a little bit shorter, but it's also the hottest time of the year, typically in the northern hemisphere, which is where the symbolism of astrology originated. So you can participate in this anywhere in the world. But this is a time in the year where, you know, we can really focus on our ambitions and also just having fun, tapping into our inner child, our inner authority, and expressing ourselves in a way that feels authentic. So there is a reason for each sign, and this really is a time to authentically express yourself and also enjoy the days before they start to get darker if you're here in the northern hemisphere. So we also at this time have Mercury in Leo, and it's in quite an interesting spot during this new moon, which we'll dive into in the chart a little bit. But with Mercury in the sign of the Lion as well, this also allows us to authentically communicate and express ourselves and have these connections with others where we are really just putting ourselves out there and shining in the light. So otherwise, Venus has also moved into the sign of Cancer. So she's a little bit behind the sun, and I like to say she's kind of harmonizing all of the energies as they move through, since she's going behind them. So This is a nice energy in your Cancer house, so check where that is. She might be picking up some pieces for you. Otherwise, I think that's kind of all I want to say before we dive into the chart. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, everyone. So before we get into the specifics of the Leo new moon chart, I do want to talk about an energy that is occurring in the background. It's not necessarily relevant to the Leo new moon, but it is also not happening in a vacuum. So I want to talk about what Mercury is doing right now. Mercury is in the sign of Leo at 18 degrees, and it is in a spot. Basically, Mercury is separating from a square to Mars and applying to a opposition to Saturn. So in traditional astrology, this is what we call being besieged. So basically, Mercury is stuck or sandwiched between the two malefics. So this can really just put Mercury in a place of pressure. It may not be functioning quite well, or themes around Mercury may even be stuck. So Mercurial themes are talking about the mind and intellect, as well as communication and general exchange of things. So this can also be like, your car, like moving to and from places. It can be technology, anything like this. And as we're dealing with this Mercury in between Mars and Saturn, for the next 2 days, it's been going on since the 26th, but this is a challenging energy for Mercury. So if you're finding yourself having troubles communicating things, or in the sign of Leo, you can also be dealing with like hot communication, rash communication, irrational thinking, things like that. So just keep an eye out for that, especially if you are a Gemini rising or Virgo rising, as you are ruled by Mercury. One other thing you may want to look at is if Mercury is your time lord for this year, if you know how to calculate that, because that will make this energy a lot louder. So since the 26th, if you've been feeling a little stuck or frustrated, things like that, this could deal with this Mercury. And as you can see, this is happening in the sign of Leo, squaring Mars and Taurus and working to oppose Saturn and Aquarius. So I do also want to point out, if you have any planets in Scorpio, specifically around these degrees, so let's say 12 to, well, really, let's just say the whole sign house of Scorpio, because we also have the new moon going on. So if you have any planets in Scorpio, you might be feeling this a lot, because you're basically the last portion of this that would create a grand cross. So you could, if you have Scorpio planets, you might be feeling like you're getting backed up into a corner or something like that. So just something I would like to point out, so you are aware of. If you've been feeling like that, that might help you kind of understand it. So outside of Mercury besieged, it's also exactly squaring Uranus and Taurus. So this can almost look like, especially if we pair this with Mercury besieged, this can definitely look like just straight up defiance. Uranus is the planet that deals with rebellion. It likes breaking free from things. And as we're talking about this in the fixed signs, this can be an energy of, I'm right, and like my way or the highway, basically. So just be aware of that. This can also look like sudden insights, sudden hot communications, sudden revelation, although it may come through shocking manner at first, or create some sort of tension at first, because it is a square. So it might be having sudden insights about things you don't necessarily want to look in the eye. So this is just an interesting energy that is happening in the background of this new moon. So, you might be feeling this as well. So I just want to point that out. All right, so let's dive into the new moon in Leo. This is coming in July 28th at 11:54 in the morning. This is Mountain Standard Time, so please do adjust based off of your own time zone, as that will change. So Leo is ruled by the sun. So what this means is we don't really have to look anywhere else other than the sun and the moon, because the sun rules this lunation. So When we're talking about Leo themes, Leo deals with self-expression. We're talking about inner child energy, creativity. As it is ruled by the sun, Leo embodies its ruler, the sun. So we're talking about magnetism, letting your soul shine, tapping into your unique talents, finding your inner authority. And what's interesting is we do have a trine to Jupiter in Aries. Now, I find this interesting because 1 month ago, the Cancer new moon, that whole moon cycle was toned by a square to Jupiter. A square is a more tense aspect. It can create a little bit of friction. And I talked about it as kind of Jupiter maybe pushing the Cancerian themes out of their comfort zones. Now, a trine is a harmonious aspect. This is a nice aspect. So something in your Aries house may be ready to integrate, something that you've been working on. So take a look at your Aries house as well to get a little bit better of an idea on what that is going to look like for you specifically. So Jupiter is stationing. It is at a standstill. It is not moving because it is going to retrograde like 3 hours after this new moon. So Jupiter is a planet that expands. So really, because it is not moving, this feels like the full pure energy of Jupiter is here to expand this Leo energy of the new moon. Now we are talking about a Leo Aries dynamic. So Aries is a sign that deals with the self. It is all about the self, your passions, your gut instinct. And then Leo is all about expression. So this whole moon cycle, and let me back up just a little bit. When we're talking about a new moon, we are talking about planting seeds, a new cycle, but this isn't just going to be on the day of the new moon. This tones the entire moon cycle. And then when we hit the full moon 2 weeks later, this is like the peak energy of the moon cycle. But this is going to tone the theme of the entire moon cycle. So for the next 28 days, and then you can honestly even expand it out to about a 6-month period to when we have a full moon in Leo during Aquarius season. So just to give you kind of a broader idea of new moon versus full moon and how they really are working together to tone an entire cycle. So a 28-day cycle or even a 6-month cycle. So that said, this moon cycle is toned with a Leo Aries dynamic. So this is all about your self-expression. This is really pure self energy. So there are themes around pride and willpower, certainly. I will say one shadow side to this, we're dealing with just pure fire energy. So we could watch out for ego flares. That definitely could happen with the bravado of Leo energy, with the passionate kind of bursting Aries energy. So just keep your eye out for that. But really, this is youthful, childlike energy. This moon cycle is asking you to come back to your inner child, to trust your gut instincts, and to lead with your heart. We do live in an age where, there's social media and we are constantly surrounded by others. And also, this can bring back inner child. We're talking about, potentially inner child wounds that occurred during your family, during childhood, I should say. So family programming. So really, we have a lot of cords tied to others. And this new moon, to me, is like a picture of burning away these cords and coming back home to your heart, coming back home to your truth. What do you want? If you removed all of the projections around you, what is it that you desire? And coming from really that inner child. So this is a cycle, especially with Jupiter stationing retrograde, a cycle related to your truth, coming back home to your heart and to honor your unique talents. Leo is about talent. It's about legacy. So what makes you unique? Tap into that and let that shine out, because that can inspire others to do the same. So this is really about an inner knowingness. Something else that I find interesting too is we've had this Jupiter and Aries since May. As it's stationing, it's going to go back into Pisces later this year, just barely. But something has been going on in your Aries house with Jupiter here. And with this trine, Leo energy is here to keep it fixed. So Jupiter is initiating energy. This is like planting seeds in the Aries house, in your Aries house. And Leo is an energy that is here to sustain. So if you think about Aries is like the spark of the fire, Leo is sustaining the fire. It wants to keep the fire going. So this is really nice. It's here to keep the spark burning. So I really like this new moon. It feels very pure, and it's going to tone the entire moon cycle. So the next 28 days with returning home to yourself, honoring your unique passions, potentially tapping into your inner child, getting close with any shame or pain that is there, and burning that away so you can really come out of that and stand tall in your truth, stand tall in your unique, authentic expression, and let that shine so others are inspired to do the same thing. So my mantra for this Leo new moon is my soul is my legacy and expression is my purpose. So the definition of legacy, one of them is a thing passed down by a predecessor. So if we think about your soul, especially if you are a believer in past lives, your soul is your legacy. It returns time and time again, and it is here to shine. So this new moon really helps us kind of remove some layers of hardness, layers of shields that we have put up to protect our inner child, and really let that burst out and shine. So again, my soul is my legacy and expression is my purpose. I hope you all have a wonderful new moon. I hope this moon cycle is really filtered through this essence of fire, and you can tap into your authentic expression because we all have something unique to share. So thank you all so much for being here with me. If you would like to book a reading with me, you can do so through my website, www.sundanceastrology.com. I also have Leo horoscopes up there if you haven't taken a look at those. So I have horoscopes for Leo season, so you can take a look at those. I also do more regular updates. If you're not following me on Instagram, you can give me a follow there, Sundance Astrology, where I do regular updates in between these YouTube videos. I also have a TikTok as well, Sundance Astrology. If you like this video, please do give it a like and a share. And also subscribe to my channel if you have not. It helps me out, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you all so much. Have a beautiful Leo new moon, and I will catch you in the next one.